It's the start of Season 4 of the Halo Championship Series, and the top 2 teams of the offseason find themselves entrenched in Halo's most tense situation, a 49-49 Slayer. The objective is simple for both sides: find the final kill and win the game. But Slayers become more complex in these situations. This final kill is a game of tactics. Players maneuver themselves like pieces on the chessboard, looking for an opportunity to knock the king down and claim victory. In these moments, teams trust their teammates and they trust their play calls.
Yeah, I'm dropping bed.
I'm looking bigger.
They're gonna kill us.
Anywhere, just look anywhere.
We're hitting left. Fuck it.
A plot.
Yo, come back.
Nice,
good
fucking shit, Brad. Good fucking shit, bro.
Nice shot, guys. Nice shot.
Shopify Rebellion employed a brilliant strategy to play a game of cat and mouse with Optic, while a camouflage Frosty could put himself in a position to win the game. But let's look a layer deeper and ask ourselves, what could have Optic done differently in these final moments? I don't think Optic made the wrong play call to play fast and together in these final moments. They know that Rebellion have both camo and sniper. They want to limit the opportunity of an isolated player being caught out in the open. When Optic failed to take down a weak last shot in Royal 2, they decided against pushing and wanted to wrap back to C. You can make a case for chasing the kill in this situation, but it's not an error to decide not to. The mistake from Optic is to go against their original play call on the rotation. Optic had decided at the beginning of the play to run as 4 because of the camo sniper that is on the map. When Renegade decides to split off towards camo on their rotation, that goes against the tactic that Optic had established earlier. It's an unnecessary risk to take. When camo's on the map, Coach Callis suggests that a team should play close together and in close spaces. Let's play a quick game while Callis explains why. I want you guys to spot the camo player on screen in the closed position and the open positions. Which one do you spot quicker?
Minimizing risk is crucial here. This goes for both Optic Gaming and Frosty with the camo. I agree with Frosty avoiding playing through the bottom mid tunnel because he'd missed the timing to see Optic Gaming's potential C plat rotation. Playing through enclosed areas such as the tunnel or even top mid are some of the easiest ways to get spotted with camo. So when Renegade doesn't play into either of these areas and opts to play out towards the turbine side of the map, he's choosing to play into a very large area that Frosty wants to use to his advantage. Instead, if Renegade had gone through either top mid with Legend or through the bottom mid tunnel with the rest of his team, and granted Frosty would have had to have either missed or not taken this shot, it would have given Optic a better chance of seeing Frosty had he been down there, while also minimizing the risk of being caught in the open by camo.
If Renegade and Optic had 4 stacked through the bottom of the map, it puts Frosty in an awkward situation. He's either forced to hit the long shot with the sniper, exposing his position and likely dying if he misses, or he has to play a cutoff at dummy door. This isn't ideal for Frosty since his camo will be running out in just seconds. The audio cue of the camo dissipating will give away his position. The end game still favors Frosty with the sniper, but it's no longer a 100% guarantee like it was. Professional Halo players must always do a calculus of risk and benefit to every play they make. A misjudgment of this math can lead to punishment. This game ends 50-49 in Rebellion's favor, but these miscalculations in risk assessment open the door for Rebellion to overcome a double-digit deficit in this game. Let's rewind the game clock and take a look at the final plays and dissect how these players assessed their risk. Both Rebellion and Optic will have moments when this miscalculation and risk will cost them, but it's the compounding interest of small mistakes that led to Optic's lead slipping away. As we watch these moments, keep in mind what the risk and the benefit of each play is. Rebellion has just gotten their first clean wipe on Optic Gaming to cut the lead down to 5. The sniper is spawning onto the map and its control will be crucial if Rebellion is going to make a comeback a reality. Legend has positioned himself inside the vent just before sniper spawns in hopes of stealing it away before Rebellion can make a play for it. But Lasha has the perfect answer to this problem. He spawns, heads straight to the nade pad on sandbags, and throws 3 absolute darts to push Legend down the vent through a ready and waiting cycle. With this early kill, Rebellion has the opportunity they have been waiting for all game, a chance to win Sniper and cut this lead to under 4 kills. Lashshot and Frosty are playing together in the Sniper lane. They can potentially melt any player that decides to push, but most importantly, they are causing a disruption that'll influence where Optic's looking. This opens a timing window for Cycle and Royal 2 to push up the map and establish their perimeters. But the door's shut when Lashshot is taken down before Rebellion's push can fully materialize. But why did Lashshot die here? Lashshot is killed because of how he took the challenge. Notice when he takes the damage during this fight. The damage is taken when he's mid-air because he's jumping into the challenge. Jumping into this fight is an unnecessary risk. If Lashshot plays more mindfully with how he takes the challenge, Rebellion has a real shot at completely wiping Optic without losing much. Instead, Optic recovers and turns their disadvantage into sniper control and a 45-40 lead. Rebellion will need 2 kills from each death from this point forward, and to make matters worse, they must play fast to take down the sniper. Down numbers, position, and power weapons, it's looking bleak for Rebellion. They have one advantage over Optic that'll make the difference: Royal 2. Royal 2 was able to secure Quantum Translocator during the chaos at top mid. The QT allows him to keep his risk low while pushing towards the nest to answer the damage that Cycle had put on Renegade. He gets the kill and evacuates with just a press of a button. This leaves his escape portal at nest. Royal 2 then vacates the weak side lane to become the front player for Shopify Rebellion. Lashshot and Frosty influence the sight lines of Optic towards Camo while Royal 2 moves up this middle lane. Royal 2 identifies the sniper position, throws nades to get damage, but he needs something more to finish the fight. Let's take a look at the position of Shopify Rebellion and ask yourself, what does Royal 2 want the most in this moment? He wants a teammate to be at nest to capitalize on the damage dealt to Formal. Royal 2 can fill this position by himself by translocating back to the nest. Rebellion has given Optic all the signs that they're overloading the camo side of the map to deliver a powerful punch, and Optic have moved all of their presence towards them in anticipation for this attack. And then bam, Royal 2's delivered a left hook from the weak side of the map. This completely dazes Optic and they become disjointed. They weren't accounting for this presence at nest. Formal takes heavy damage from Royal 2 and is forced to reposition. Bound was trying to flank this now non-existent Royal 2, and Renegade gets caught by Lashshot mid-sprint towards dummies. Fresh off spawn, Legend's in a tough spot and will have to decide who to help. He goes to cover Renegade as he's one shot and is the closest one to help, but this disconnects every player of Optic on the map. Take a look at the reticles of Optic versus the reticles of Rebellion. Optic has no immediate help for each other in this engagement. The power of Optic's position only works if they have each other's immediate help. In contrast, Rebellion has managed to connect each player in the fight. This connection allows Royal 2 to cover Cycle in his fight against Bound. When Bound dies, Renegade must try to answer that kill, but Lashshot is able to clean up Renegade after the pick on Cycle. Side note, look how insane this play is from Lashshot. He makes Renegade one shot from underneath and then repulses up to help Cycle to finish the kill he started under the map. Despite Optic all being within a few feet of each other, this disconnection causes each player to fight on an individual basis. At the same time, Shopify Rebellion understand that they can't just trade out and are playing in a way where they will always have each other's help. After Lashshot's kill on Renegade, Legend goes on the hunt, and it's imperative for Lashshot to stay alive and receive help in this fight against Legend. There's seemingly no escape with Legend so close behind him. The Lashshot decides that he can't outrun him on the ground. He must go to the air.
On to 3, and it's Lashshot. Oh my word! The repulse back to stay alive!
Legend has no idea where Lashshot went, and the damage is done. Royal 2 teams up with Lashshot and they help finish the kill on Legend. The death of Legend is also important because of when he dies. Legend's death causes a staggered spawn cycle. Staggered spawns happen when the last player alive dies as his teammates spawn on the map. Staggered spawns are brutal in Slayers, as it'll put a team in a numbers disadvantage for 8 seconds off spawn. This prevents Optic from quickly taking space, while Rebellion will have the freedom to move anywhere on the map they want. High-level Slayer play can be simplified to one general rule. When you have numbers, play fast. When you're down in numbers, play slow. Staggered spawns open the opportunity for teams to play fast, and Optic will have to weather the storm and stabilize in this tough position, and Optic will do a decent enough job of coming off spawn and doing just that, stabilizing. But was there an opportunity for them to do more? After speaking with Callus, he really shined a light on how much better it could have been for Optic. But before we hear from Callus, I want to check something. Are you subscribed to LVT Halo? 55% of people who watch our content aren't subscribed to the channel. And if you enjoy this video and want to learn more about Halo, please think about subscribing. We're going to be providing all the Halo coverage you could possibly want. In fact, this weekend, we're going to be at DreamHack Dallas. So come watch, hang out with us, and catch all the Halo coverage you possibly could want. All right, Callus, walk us through this crucial moment between Optic and Rebellion in this Slayer.
When Optic spawned, they recognized the situation they were in. They needed to play slowly, but they didn't want to just hide at B. Ideally, they play for information and find a way out. One way to play this is to expand across the B lane in order to bait Shopify Rebellion into their space. If they were to catch a player with a quick team shot, they could have earned back the timing lost from the last team fight. And to be honest, Optic doesn't even need to secure a kill here, because getting enough damage on Rebellion could stop their push, allowing Optic to make a move on the map. Optic did just that with the damage Formal put down. This damage was enough to force Rebellion back, allowing Optic to expand their presence on the map. But it could have been so much worse for Rebellion. Let's see exactly how Optic managed to break out of being trapped at B and some of the missed opportunities they left on the table. Okay, so Formal and Bound spawned together at B and immediately took space towards their left perimeter. Bound rotated to Mud, with Formal playing the nest to help him from behind. I think this was good because Bound set up a trap with Formal, which would have burst the doors wide open for Optic to push out of their spawn. This could have been a 2v1, but Bound decided to peek and was caught by Last Shot. I want to highlight how disciplined Last Shot played here. He knew to check his Mud flank. Pro players understand how important the perimeter of the map is. Unaccounted perimeters are how deadly flanks form. Always check your perimeters. Yeah, I'm talking to you, all you cracked out lords in matchmaking who shoot 80% accuracy but can't do the basics. For the love of Halo, play your lane. Check the perimeters and then look in the map. I don't know why I sounded so angry. I'm not angry. Although Last Shot played this perfectly, Bound was still able to salvage a tough situation being down in damage against Last Shot. Bound closed the distance between them to force a trade. If Bound didn't trade his life, Formal would have been in immediate danger with two players having complementary angles to attack him at Nest. But because of Bound's trade, Formal was able to work with Legend to eventually shut down Rebellion's push, winning themselves an out of the B trap. Although Optic won the rotation, I think Bound peeking from behind tower was an overstep. Ideally, Bound sets up a play with Formal for a team shot, and Bound had two options to do this. Bound could have waited at the plasma pistol. If Bound becomes the switch to Formal's bait, the moment Formal outputs damage onto Last Shot, Bound would be able to pop out to fight Last Shot while having a damage advantage. The second option, if instead Formal gets into a fight with Royal 2 up high, then Bound can hit a skill jump to create a 2v1 with Formal. And as long as Royal 2 doesn't do Royal 2 things, they pocket the sniper and have an easier time dealing with the rest of Rebellion. And so instead of Bound's trade creating just an equilibrium of numbers, it would have been a +1 or +2 or even possibly a +3 numbers advantage for Optic had Bound's perimeter play been a little more disciplined. Alright, now let's look at how Renegade played the other perimeter and see how he could have maximized Optic's play. So as Bound and Formal played the left perimeter, Renegade was working on getting space for Optic towards the right perimeter. And even though hitting Garage towards A is usually a safe and fast way out when you're trapped B, doing it alone can be risky if the enemy team is ready for it. I think there are much stronger team plays Renegade could have made here. Optic was at a 4v3 numbers disadvantage, and due to Legend's late death in the previous team fight, they were in a staggered spawn cycle. So taking any solo fights without a clear advantage was risky for Optic. When Renegade took this unneeded damage, it forced him to back up, costing Optic all of their space on the right side, and space equals timing. And without this space, Optic would be much slower to react to any play needing presence on their right side. Keep that in mind. Had Renegade instead played Concrete and waited for info, or at least until Legend respond, he would have had a better chance at playing with favorable timing in his lane. He would have been able to answer the damage that Legend provided off spawn faster, while still having an escape route and a team shot with Legend.
Every play in Halo, we must assess the risk and reward for each play we make. Taking an unnecessary risk can turn a good play into something detrimental. Renegade will make a fatal miscalculation that will significantly weaken Optic's collapse. Renegade wants to try to find the entry kill on Frosty. This kill would give Optic a numbers advantage and allow them to rush the rest of Rebellion to secure a game win. But what is the risk to Renegade when he makes this push? Renegade doesn't have any information as to the position of the players inside of A. To get to Frosty, he'll have to push through the cross angle that Last Shot's holding. When Renegade does this, he plays surprisingly slow and jumps onto a pillar that is most exposed to this unknown angle. In turn, Last Shot melts Renegade on the push, and what should be a 1-kill advantage for Optic turns into an even trade, and they lose their most forward player on the map. The following push from Optic becomes much weaker, and Shopify Rebellion wipes Optic while only losing 2 players. I think Renegade is making the right play to push Frosty. I don't think he approaches it the right way. If Renegade recognizes the risk he's taking on, he can minimize the downside of pushing. Speed is Renegade's friend here, and in Halo Infinite, where there's a ledge, there is speed. By using the curbside technique on either this box or this ledge, Renegade can zoom past Last Shot, minimizing his damage taken, while applying the necessary pressure to kill a weak Frosty. Importantly, after this kill, Optic would have a huge advantage in their efforts to finish the rest of Rebellion. Legend and Renegade would have each other's immediate help, and it would take a miracle for Cycle and Last Shot to get out with their lives. But when Renegade dies because of this risk he took, the remaining players of Optic are disjointed on the map. Although they're working towards the same point, they can't really help each other. Think back to what went wrong during the tower side hold for Optic. The disconnection of Optic's push is not allowing them to finish their kills. Cycle and Last Shot are playing their position so well in comparison. They're playing connected and valuing their lives over the kill. Let's focus in on Cycle in particular. Once Frosty goes down, Cycle puts himself in a position in which he can challenge the push while keeping himself protected from all other angles. He baits Legend into closing the space and switches with Last Shot to get the kill. Cycle's playing his life first and trusting his teammates to have his help. Even after Last Shot goes down, he waits for the help of Royal 2 to come finish a one-shot. At all points in time, Cycle is being mindful of his risk and understands that his life is much more important than any one kill. Royal 2 was able to win his 1v1 on the map because the influence that Cycle is providing by staying alive. Formal's trying to finish this kill by throwing nades at Cycle, but these nades give away his position and allow Royal 2 to be ready for the fight. That isn't to say that Formal throwing nades is wrong here. Of course he should throw his nades to try to get this kill. If they connect, they win the game. I bring this up because it's a perfect illustration of how each action in the game has risk to it. The risk for Formal to throw these nades while pushing is that it gives away his position to anyone that's hidden at key door. The reward would be much greater than the risk in this situation, but it is a risk. By throwing these nades, Royal 2 is ready for the fight and kills Formal while taking minimal damage. Now Royal 2 can easily move to finish the last player alive. If Formal is mindful of his risk and adjusts his reticle to be ready for Royal 2, there's a good chance he'll trade out this kill and Optic wins the game. But all these risks have piled up and given Rebellion a chance, as the game is now 49-49. And we know how this story concludes. In Slayer, every death matters. Rebellion understood that and capitalized on the risky plays that Optic made in these last few engagements to give themselves an opportunity to clutch. And if you give Frosty an opportunity to clutch, he will rarely let you down.
He gave it the Frosty for Frosty with the camo.
Hide, hide, hide. Everyone for Shopify, hide. You can win the game right here, Frosty.
This is it, but Optic Gaming are pushing on A. They've got a bit of a pinch here. All of Shopify. It's up to Frosty, hit the shot. There it is. Oh my word, Shopify Rebellion tied this series in 1.
Halo is a game of risk and reward. The best players do their best to limit their exposure to risk while searching for the maximum reward in their play. The goal of this video isn't to tell you not to take risks, but rather to understand what your exposure to risk is when you make a play. If Optic had taken a few more precautions in their attempt to close out this game, I don't think Rebellion would have had those same chances to come back and win this game. Oftentimes, when we see big comebacks happen in Halo, it's usually because of two things. The team that is close to winning starts making riskier plays to finish the game, and the team that's behind starts to play extremely risk averse, preventing those risky plays from having the payoff that's expected. It's important not to get caught up in the moment and to continue to play fundamental Halo. The fundamental Halo that you can learn to play from watching LVT Halo. Thank you for watching.